So this part right here, where a welder's joining these all together, and you're in precision measurement. So you probably already expect combined length, right? Calculate the combined length of the three pipes in this form. So in this case, they actually are very clear. Not just that, that's what we normally would have done, right? They also want the combined uncertainty. Careful, sometimes all they ask for is the combined uncertainty. So you need to just state the uncertainty, right? So read carefully, please. So just take an extra look. And calculate also means that there's going to be some work required. By the way, we were told once that if it's more than 1 mark, you should always show work, for sure. But I would say this, always show some sort of work, because oftentimes we can still give you half a mark if you're making a mistake, okay? Because we can see your train of thought. We know you understand what's happening. So we're not supposed to round final, okay? So what happens here is we want to add them up. Obviously, in this case, we are adding them. So this will depend on the question. Sometimes you're cutting away, so then obviously you'd subtract. So in this case, we add. So we're going to get that, but every single measurement, sometimes they are nice enough to tell you what the precision, what the uncertainty is. In this case, they didn't. Okay. For every single one of these, the precision is 0.1, which means the uncertainty is 0.05. Every single one of these has the same precision, and that tends to be the norm, to be honest. So once you figure out each of their uncertainties, in this case we actually had to figure that out, you stack them like this. They may be different. In this case they were all the same. So we add this part. What do we have here? 95.8 centimeters, don't forget that, plus or minus 0.15, like that. Okay, so that's what you were supposed to put there. What else could they have asked you for after doing this? They could have asked you, hey, what's the maximum combined length? What is the minimum combined length? Like, actually, they want an actual measurement when it's like that. So you would just add. I just made this up, right? So this would be 95.95, and minimum, you would just subtract. That'd be 95.65, right, centimeters. So they could have asked for it. We're obviously stopping here. Circle your final answer, especially if you're going to do a bunch of stuff. Circle the answer that you want to use to answer that question. Okay, there we go. We're good. This one, a 1 marker. Actually, when it says state, it's usually short and sweet. So I would still want you to do a little bit of work here. You could figure out the max, the min, the tolerance, and the nominal. Because let me tell you, sometimes I've even seen them recycle a question. Like put the exact same one, they just ask something different. They may have asked for what's the nominal, right? So if you do these 4, whenever we're talking tolerance, max is just 7.85 plus 0.12. Okay, what is that? 7.97. Yeah. Minimum is 7.85 minus 0.06. That would be 7.79. Right? You gotta help me out, it's Monday. And then subtract them and you get 0.18. And we're in millimeters. What's the nominal? It's always, like if there are 3 numbers like that, you just grab. Nominal is also known as our target. Nominal is target, okay? That's what we're aiming for. I can totally see them asking you that. Nominal is the smallest increment, the margin of error, the target value. Oh, target value, circle that one, right? I can totally see them do that. That's why I'm talking about all those things, bring them back. So anyways, I honestly think you would get full marks if you did this. as long as you have units, you get full marks. Because you're telling us the tolerance is this, even though you do a bunch of other stuff. But to be absolutely sure, I would circle that. I would say that is my word for tolerance, and that is the answer. Okay? Okay, good. Let's do some trig. I will show you. I looked at this over the weekend, and I was like, yeah, this one has some good trig stuff. Let's start with this one right here, question 27. Some of you recognize it because you did go through the reviews. That's fine. I don't want you to go look it up right now. I just want you to try this. Anywhere on loose leaf, any booklet you have, the back of that booklet, just use it. I don't care right now. This is just like bringing stuff back. And then I'll give you a little, what I would say a good entry for study sheet purposes. I would make sure I know what to do when. Okay. So give this a go. 3 marks. That's why trig questions, they're 4 or 3 marks. That's a lot of marks, to be honest, folks. And easy. Should be a slam dunk, honestly, if you know what you're doing. So let's prove me right. Like you know trig. Let's get a 3 out of 3 on this one right now. Okay, so give this a try. We'll try 5 minutes. I'd say this shouldn't take you longer than 5 minutes, in my opinion. Okay, and also you're finding an angle, so you should be looking for degrees, right, on your final answer. You got this? Should be happy. Math is almost over. I know you're a little sad that it's over, but that's okay. All right. So sometimes students find the weirdest pairs in there that aren't actually there, right? But in this case, this angle right here is paired up with this side right here, okay? So you immediately should think what? Sine law, yes. So you know what? I'll tell you a secret. If you just identify the law that is supposed to be used, you get 1 mark already. So if you're very clear, sine law, 1 out of 3, or you already have in your pocket, right? So we're going to start with that pair, 110 meters. And do we have what we need to solve for angle A? We do. We have the side, so be careful. In this case, so the 80 meters go here, and this is the biggest mistake. It's just A. Hey, I'm just going to solve for A, right? No, that's when you're solving for side lengths. In this case, you have to make sure it's sine of A. I would have maybe this exact question on my study sheet. I don't know if you feel like it. So cross multiply and divide. So sine of A is 80 times sine of 120 divided by 110. And let's quickly make sure you understand you have to set your calculators to degrees. I'll try to remind you the morning of, but it has to be D for degrees, or DEG, whatever it is. Make sure you check that. So it's 80 times sine of 120 divided by 110. If you don't get, listen carefully, if you're trying to find an angle and you don't get something that starts with a 0 here, you made a mistake, okay? It has to start with a 0. Anything else, everything that follows, it doesn't matter, but it has to start with a 0. Okay, so angle A, when you're trying to find angles, use the inverse. In this case, we're using sine law, so sine inverse, 629 and something. Shift sine for me, right? And then you just press enter. Don't round too soon, please. Don't round too soon. Use as many decimals as possible. That's 39.04 degrees. You want to round to 2 decimals, okay? So keep that in mind. So 3 marks, just like that, right? It's not like a weird explain, do this, right? It's just straight up finding an angle. Okay, let's try another one. Let's just throw in a random geometry in here. State the length of side A and the measure of angle B for the parallelogram below. You should recognize that shape. Place 1 response per line. Length of side A, that's this one right here. You should know that these are the same in measure, so that's just 8 meters. Look at that. That's 1 mark right there. Measure of angle B, what is this one going to be? It's going to be 130. Okay, how do you know? Well, do you remember this? Like, what do these two always add up to? 180, right? So if they add up to 180, then this should be 130. And we know that the 50, like these ones are the same, and 130, these ones are the same as well. So yes, 130 is what you would want to put down there. One more thing, folks. If the question has letters in all corners and it asks you to find AB or BA, right? It's just asking for that stretch. Okay, so keep that in mind. One more, guys. Here we go. Tower of Pisa. Can you answer that? 3 marks. Some students were thrown off by the wording of this. I remember that vividly. Don't worry if this throws you off, just look at the diagram and just go with the diagram. Like that trumps everything else. Okay? This is what threw students off. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is at an angle of 4 degrees from the vertical. This one right here, everybody was raising their hands like, what the heck is this, right? Can't really help you. But what is vertical? Vertical is 90, right? So if you're leaning away from 90 like this, if you're 4 degrees off of the vertical, that means 94, okay? So sometimes I can't guarantee you that, you know, the wording, I'm covering all that is to do with wording, but you know, right? Okay, 94 is right there, so I'm just gonna go with a diagram. And then it says what? Calculate the distance from Mario to the top of the tower. Okay, they're wanting this. So can you solve that real quick? 3 minutes, starting now. Let's see if you can do it in 3. Ace it. All right, let's see. What law am I using here? Cosine law. I'm just going to make an observation. If you only have one angle, it's going to be cosine law for sure. Okay. Or you notice that this is a side angle side. Not good enough yet to get the 1 mark, by the way. Just doing this. If you say cosine law, you've got something going on. 4 minutes, okay? 4 minutes. This one is actually a 4-mark question, by the way. They've changed the grading. This is just an old exam. This is 2016. This is a 4-mark question. Let's see if you know why this would be a 4-mark question. So you look at it, right? So this is 35 down here as well. That's this side of the triangle. We've got 2 angles. If you have 2 angles, chances are you're going to want to find a third one. And in this case, it turns out that you absolutely want to, because that's going to give you the only pair that is available here. So this will be 180 minus 120 minus 20. So you're left with...
Wait, it's still frozen down.
Oh. I guess it's super cold outside. It's this. There we go. Thank you. So 120 minus 20, so then you're left with 40 degrees. So this is 40. That is a mark right there. So nowadays this one is worth 4 because you have to find that extra angle. Now you have your pair. Okay? So you go sine of 40 over a 35. And you have to be careful because you've got 2 options for angles. It's asking for the length of the zip line, correct? So you're going to have to use the 120 to get you that zip line. So you got to go sine of 120 z over z, whatever you want to call it. So you cross multiply and divide. So that's 35 times sine of 120 over sine of 40. And what is this? 47.16? 47.16? Okay, thank you. And we are meters. Don't forget your units. There we go. Okay. So that's trig. I found one more in the 2024 exam. I just grabbed it. That's why you want to try different ones. Here we go. One, I promise this is the last one. After that, you can just review at your own leisure. But I need to make sure you know your trig because 3 marks. There's usually 2 trig questions for sure. So 3 and 3, that's 6 already. If one of them is worth 4, that's 7 marks. That's a lot of marks to consider the entire exam. This exam was worth 76 marks, so that's shy of 10%. Give this a try. Calculate the measure of angle B. Minus 28 squared, so that's negative 264. You know that's going to be obtuse because of that. Maybe they will ask you that. So-and-so did some calculation and got negative there. What does that mean? It means that it'll be an obtuse angle. So there, 504. Divide them, making sure you don't drop the negative, right? My calculator, I can actually type in the negative. Sorry. So you get a negative 0.52, okay? So to get the angle B, we go cosine inverse of negative 0.52 and something. You go shift cosine, don't mix them up. So that's 121.59 degrees for that one, okay? All right. I'm going to leave you, let you do some review, whatever you want to work on. I've got 5 exams there. I have 2019 as well in this box down here. So if you want more, you go and grab it. Oh, come on, this one is easy. 2 marks for this. I can't believe it. Describe using words or a diagram 2 properties of an isosceles trapezoid. What does an isosceles trapezoid look like? So you could say this, you get 1 mark. You could say that this one is the same as that one. 2 marks for that. That's unbelievable. Like sometimes I'm like, they're just handing out marks just like that, right? If you, another one would be that this angle is the same as that one. This angle is the same as that one, right? You know that the diagonals are equal. Some of you don't like the congruent symbol. Don't worry about it. Just say the diagonals are congruent. So that'll be this one and this one, right? So just make sure you're very careful with your wording there. If you don't mind, I know I told you this was it, but after marking the cumulative, some of you ran into, I think this is the exact same one that was in the cumulative, if I remember correctly. That's why I said review using these ones. But if it says total cost to lease the car over 3 years, in this case you would just take the lease payment, which already includes taxes, over 3 years. So really just have to multiply that by 36, and that is the lease. Okay, that's it. 1 mark. This is the one that some of you were mixing up. This one, at the end of the term, Martina decides to buy out the car. Calculate the cost to buy out the car after taxes. They do tell you that you have to add taxes. So all you need to do here is the residual value without taxes would just be 20,000 times 0.6. Okay, the 60%. You figure that out. What is that? 12,000. Okay. And then you just have to slap taxes onto that one. And so the buyout, if you have this on your study sheet, the buyout is the residual value times 1.12. Like adding taxes turns this into the buyout. Okay, so it'd be 12,000 times 1.12. And whatever that is. I'm not going to calculate that now. But just don't mix that up when it's leasing. It could be that, you know what, when it comes to leasing, they do this a lot. They also might just throw in mileage. Hey, so-and-so was allowed to drive 50,000 kilometers, but brought it back with 60,000 kilometers. You get charged 6 cents for every kilometer that you're over. You just have to do some math, right? Figure out how much you're over, multiply by 6 cents, and then make sure you add taxes to that. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Work through the exams, please. I will circulate a little bit and give you a hand if you need it. Thank you.